The chapel was silent except for the soft sound of crying. I stood at the front, looking at the photographs of my son displayed around his closed casket. Daniel at his high school graduation, Daniel volunteering at the children's hospital, Daniel laughing with his college friends. He had been 23 years old when the drunk driver crossed the median on Route 7. 3 weeks had passed and I still couldn't process that he was gone. The casket remained closed because of the severity of the accident, and I was grateful for that small mercy. Pastor Williams had just begun the eulogy, speaking about Daniel's passion for helping others, when my sister Victoria stood up from the third row. She was wearing a bright coral dress that stood out against the sea of black and gray. "Everyone needs some happy news today," she announced, her voice cutting through his words. "I think Daniel would want us to celebrate life, not just mourn death." I watched frozen as she walked to the center aisle and pulled out a stack of pink and blue envelopes from her designer handbag. "Mark and I are having twins," Victoria continued, her smile bright against the somber atmosphere. "And we're doing a gender reveal party next month. I'm handing out invitations now since everyone's already here." The chapel erupted in whispers. I saw my mother's face go pale. Daniel's friends from college stared in disbelief. Victoria moved down the aisles, pressing invitations into people's hands like a bride distributing wedding favors. "Victoria," my husband James whispered urgently. "Not now." "Why not?" she asked, genuinely confused. Daniel was always the life of the party. He'd want something to look forward to. She placed an invitation on top of Daniel's casket. "See, I'm inviting him too, in spirit." I couldn't speak. My throat had closed completely. I felt James' hand grip mine as Victoria returned to her seat, looking pleased with herself. Pastor Williams, visibly shaken, attempted to resume the eulogy, but the damage was done. People were staring at the colorful invitations, at Victoria, at me. My mother approached me after the service. "Honey, I'm so sorry. I don't know what she was thinking." "She wasn't, I managed. She never does." Victoria appeared at my elbow. People seemed really touched by the invitations. Several people told me it was exactly what they needed today. She squeezed my arm. "You'll come, right? It's at that new event space downtown. Very upscale." I pulled away and walked to my car. The following weeks blurred together. I took a leave from my teaching position. James handled the legal matters from the accident. I spent my days at the foundation office, the one place that felt purposeful. The Riverside Medical Research Foundation occupied the entire 10th floor of a downtown building with floor-to-ceiling windows overlooking the river. I'd started it 8 years ago with a small inheritance from my grandmother, specifically focusing on rare pediatric conditions and trauma recovery research. What began as a modest operation with 2 employees had grown into an organization with a staff of 15 and an annual budget of $12 million. After Daniel's accident, I'd thrown myself into the work with renewed intensity. It gave me something to focus on besides the empty chair at our dinner table and the silence in our house. "Dr. Peterson, the grant applications for next quarter are ready for review," my assistant Sophie said, setting a stack of folders on my desk. I nodded, opening the first file. A family in Oregon needed funding for their daughter's treatment. A research team in Boston was developing new trauma response protocols. A children's hospital in Phoenix wanted to expand their genetic testing capabilities. Victoria's gender reveal party came and went. I didn't attend. According to my mother, it was elaborate, expensive, and well-attended. Twin girls. Victoria was thrilled. "She asked about you," my mother said on the phone. "She seemed hurt that you didn't come." "I was working," I said simply. "At that volunteer thing you do." I didn't correct her. My family had never understood my involvement with the foundation. They knew I did charity work, but they'd never asked for details. Victoria had once called it my hobby when I missed her birthday party for a crucial board meeting. 3 months after Daniel's funeral, Sophie buzzed my intercom. "Dr. Peterson, there's a woman here to see you. She doesn't have an appointment, but she says it's urgent." "A Victoria Brennan?" My hand paused over the grant application I was signing. "Send her in." Victoria entered my office, looking nothing like the confident woman who distributed invitations at a funeral. Her eyes were swollen from crying, her designer clothes rumpled and mismatched. She was 5 months pregnant now, her belly prominent beneath a loose sweater. Her hands trembled as she clutched her phone. "Thank you for seeing me," she said, her voice shaking. "I know you're busy. Your assistant said you don't usually take walk-ins, but I begged." I literally begged her. I gestured to the chair across from my desk and waited. The twins, she began, twisting her hands together. At the 20-week ultrasound, they found something. Both babies have a genetic condition called Hartwell syndrome. Have you heard of it? I had. It was one of the conditions our foundation researched. I'm familiar. The doctors say there's a treatment, an experimental therapy that has to start immediately after birth, but it's not covered by insurance. It costs $300,000 per child. Tears spilled down her cheeks. Mark's business is struggling. We've already spent so much on fertility treatments and the pregnancy. We can't afford it. She pulled out her phone with shaking hands. I've been researching funding options. There are only 2 foundations in the country that provide grants for Hartwell syndrome treatment. One of them is here, in our city. The Riverside Medical Research Foundation. I watched her scroll through the website on her phone. I've been trying to get an appointment for weeks, Victoria continued. But they kept telling me the director was reviewing applications and couldn't be disturbed. Then today, I just came here and begged them to let me speak to whoever was in charge. She looked up at me. Please, I know you volunteer here or something. Can you help me get a meeting with the director? My daughter's lives depend on it. I pressed the button on my intercom. Sophie, could you bring in the Brennan grant application? Victoria's eyes widened. You already have my application. We have 572 applications this quarter, I said. Yours arrived last week. Sophie entered with a folder, setting it on my desk. On the tab was written, Brennan, Victoria and Mark, Hartwell syndrome twins, $600,000 requested. I don't understand, Victoria said. How did you know I'd be here? I didn't. I opened the folder. Your application went through normal channels. Medical documentation from Dr. Sarah Winters at County General, financial disclosure forms, letters of recommendation from your obstetrician. Then you can help me? Hope flooded her face. You can tell the director that I'm here? I picked up a pen and signed the bottom of the review form. The director is aware. But I need to speak to them directly. I need to explain how important this is. Victoria. I turned the nameplate on my desk to face her. It read, Dr. Margaret Peterson, Executive Director, Riverside Medical Research Foundation. She stared at it, then at me, then back at the nameplate. You're the volunteer? I founded this organization 8 years ago. We've provided over $40 million in medical research funding and treatment grants, I said, tapping the folder. We fund approximately 60% of all Hartwell syndrome treatments in North America. Her mouth opened and closed. No sound came out. Your application is complete, I continued. Your daughters meet our criteria. Dr. Winters is one of the top specialists in the country. You've secured treatment slots at Children's Medical Center, which is one of our partner hospitals. You've been in charge this whole time, she whispered. My phone buzzed. Excuse me, I answered it. Yes, Dr. Martinez? The conference call about the Stanford Research Partnership. Put it through at 2. I hung up and looked at Victoria. Where were we? I didn't know, she said. The family never talks about what you do. Mom said you volunteered at some medical charity. The foundation takes up approximately 60 hours of my week, I said. After Daniel died, I increased my involvement. It helps to do work that matters. Victoria's face crumpled. The funeral. Oh God, the funeral. Yes. I didn't think. I just wanted to share good news. I thought people needed something positive. You interrupted my son's eulogy, I said, my voice even, to hand out party invitations. I'm so sorry, she was sobbing now. I'm so sorry. I didn't understand. I never understand. Mark tells me I don't think about how things affect other people. My therapist says the same thing, but I didn't mean to hurt you. I swear I didn't mean it. I pulled a tissue box from my drawer and slid it across the desk. Please, Victoria begged. I know I don't deserve your help. I know what I did was unforgivable. But my daughters didn't do anything wrong. Please don't punish them for my mistakes. Is that what you think I do? I asked. Punish sick children? No, I just mean. This foundation exists because children shouldn't suffer for their parents' failures, I said. When I was 12, my best friend died because her family couldn't afford an experimental treatment. I watched her parents beg, fundraise, mortgage their house. It wasn't enough. She died 3 weeks before the money came through. I opened Victoria's file. Your daughters will receive full funding for their treatment, $600,000, covering both girls through their first year of life. Dr. Winters is excellent. Your babies will have the best possible care. Victoria stared at me. You're approving it? Even after what I did? I'm approving it because 2 infants need medical treatment. I pulled out the grant agreement. However, there are conditions. All recipients of foundation grants are required to complete 20 hours of community service annually until the children turn 18. You'll work here at the foundation, helping other families navigate the application process. Yes, Victoria said immediately. Anything. You'll attend our monthly family support groups. You'll share your story with other parents of children with Hartwell syndrome. You'll be honest about your experience, including the challenges. I will, I promise. And Victoria? I met her eyes. You'll write a letter to the foundation board explaining why we do this work. Include what you've learned about how devastating medical crises affect families. That letter will be read at our annual fundraising gala. She nodded, tears streaming down her face. Sophie will send you the grant paperwork. Review it with Mark, sign it, and return it within 48 hours. Dr. Winters will coordinate your treatment plan. I stood up. Your daughters will be fine, Victoria. We have an 87% success rate with this treatment protocol. She stood, stumbling slightly. Thank you. Thank you so much. I don't know how to. Take care of your daughters, I said. That's how you thank me. After she left, I walked to the window overlooking the city. Daniel's photograph sat on the credenza taken at his college graduation. He wanted to be a pediatric surgeon. We talked about him joining the foundation, using his skills to help the families we served. Sophie knocked softly. Dr. Peterson? The board meeting is in 10 minutes. I'll be right there. I picked up Daniel's photo. I'm doing the work, sweetheart, I whispered, just like we planned. That evening, James found me in Daniel's old room. How did it go today? Victoria came to the office. His eyebrows rose. How is she? Scared. Her twins have Hartwell syndrome. And we're funding their treatment. Full grant. James sat beside me on Daniel's bed. That must have been difficult. It was necessary. I leaned against him. Those babies didn't interrupt Daniel's funeral. They didn't do anything wrong. They just need help. You're a better person than I am, James said quietly. No. I just understand that the foundation isn't about me. It's about the kids who need it. 2 weeks later, Sophie brought me a letter. Victoria had written to the board about her experience, detailing the terror of her diagnosis, the desperate search for funding, and the moment she realized her sister ran the foundation that would save her daughters. But the final paragraph made me pause. My sister Margaret lost her only child 3 months ago. While I was planning parties and celebrations, she was saving children's lives. While I was handing out invitations at his funeral, she was reviewing applications from desperate families like mine. I will spend the rest of my life trying to understand the grace she showed me when she approved funding for my daughters despite my cruelty. The Riverside Foundation exists because people like Margaret choose love over vengeance, healing over hurt. I am forever grateful. The board gave Victoria's letter a standing ovation at the gala. It raised an additional $200,000 that night. Victoria kept her promise. She attended every support group, completed her service hours, and helped dozens of families navigate the grant process. When her daughters were born, healthy and immediately beginning treatment, she brought them to the foundation office. I want them to understand where their health came from, she told me, placing the tiny infants in my arms. I want them to know their Aunt Margaret saved their lives. I looked down at my nieces, thinking of Daniel, thinking of all the children we'd helped, all the families we'd supported. Welcome to the world, little ones, I whispered. You're going to do great things. Victoria watched me with tears in her eyes. I'm so sorry about Daniel. I should have said that at the funeral. I should have said it every day since. I know you are. Will you tell me about him sometimes? I barely knew him as an adult. I was always too busy with my own life. I smiled, still looking at the babies. He was brilliant, compassionate. He wanted to help people who couldn't help themselves. Like his mother, Victoria said softly. The twins were stronger each day. The treatment worked beautifully, and every month, when Victoria came to the foundation for her service hours, I saw my son's legacy continuing in the work we did together. Some wounds never fully heal, but sometimes in the space where pain lives, purpose grows. That's what Daniel would have wanted.